Welcome to Namaqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation. It's wonderful to be with you this morning. This is a come as you are congregation. No matter who you are, what your faith is, who you love, you are welcome here. Today we acknowledge that the land we are on is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Arapaho, the Cheyenne, and the Ute nations. We recognize and honor Indigenous people as original stewards of this land and vow to reconcile the deep wounds that still shape our world today. I want to extend a special welcome to any of our first or second time visitors, and we would love to stay connected. So if you haven't had a chance already, please fill out our visitor card so that we can connect with you and keep you informed. The Namaqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation fosters a beloved community that celebrates diversity, strives for peace and justice, acts mindfully for the good of the planet, and inspires spiritual growth through a free and loving search for truth and meaning. Is that true? Do we do that? Okay, just checking. May it be so. So today after the service, we have a forum happening. So grab your cup of coffee and your wonderful snack, and a few minutes after we get started, or after coffee hour gets started, we'll sit down and talk about our future. So today is all about the future and what we're thinking of and what we're dreaming of for our future. So I hope you join us, and those on Zoom, you can join the conversation on Zoom as well. Just stay on the same link or join the Zoom link that we use for church services. I guess a lot of you got a rather puzzling and confusing email from me, and it wasn't me. And I hope you all got that that wasn't me. There was someone impersonating me. Hopefully you got the letter that I wrote explaining all that. It was a scam. It was a classic phishing, but it was a little more sophisticated than most phishing because it looked an awful lot like my email address, but it wasn't quite. So it was rather sneaky. So all of you savvy people, I'm glad you didn't fall for it. And those things happen. They love to target churches. And so I know. It's because we're all a bunch of nice people and we want to help. So for all of you that wanted to help and wanted to show up, I thank you. I will never ask for credit for gift cards or anything like that, just so you know. And everything that we do in terms of donations will always be through the church, unless it's a GoFundMe or some other nonprofit. Okay, so we'll always use official channels. Sound good? So if it's not official channels, it's not me. We're doing something really fun, and I hope you'll all participate. I'm inviting each of you to write a love note, a Valentine's, to Francie, to Laurel, and to Francie too. Reverend Laurel, for those of you who don't know, and her partner Francie were the minister. Laurel was the minister here for 11 years, and she was deeply beloved, still is deeply beloved by everyone in the congregation that knew her. So we have a rule that you can't be in communication with a minister for at least a couple of years, which is a really pain in the butt rule, just saying. And it's hard and it's hurtful. So this is a chance for you to write a beautiful card and be in connection and send them some love. Sound like a good plan? It's right back there on the table, and Tam made a beautiful box. So yeah, and feel free to bring something in. I will send that on the 12th, after next Sunday. So you have a week to get something written. Next Sunday, Claire is doing the service on radical love. What does it take to show up for love? Did I lose my mic? Is it still working? What does it take to show up for love? And what do we do when our actions are not reciprocated? So come for that service. It's going to be wonderful, as always. And today there is also the local lunch Sunday. So you're invited to go out to the local lunch Sunday. Okay, that's enough for our announcements for today. I invite you to get to know the people around you. Stand up, greet each other, say good morning, wish each other best wishes. Welcome all of our new people.
Were you able to get that paper with their things on it? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have it?
I said, oh no, that paper.
It's in the office.
It is.
This is the home that love made.
It is full of the love that the founders felt when they planned out these walls and raised these beams above us.
This is the home that love made.
It is full of the love of all who have worshiped here, those who have celebrated and grieved here, the babies dedicated, the couples married, the family members who are mourned here.
This is the home that love made.
Yes. It is full of the love of our children as they learn and laugh together, and our youth as they grow into their own sense of purpose and meaning. This is the home that love made.
It is full of the love of staff who have served it, full of their hopes for this congregation, their hard work, their acts of dedication.
This is the home that love made.
It's full of the love of the choir, the love made so clear in the voices lifted here on Sunday morning.
This is the home that love made.
It's full of our love, the love of this community, despite our differences and our disagreements, the love that holds us together as a people.
This is the home that love made.
Can you feel it?
Can you feel it?
May the love be with us always.
Amen. Come, my friend. Let us worship together.
On this bright winter morning, I stand here considering the future of Namaqua Unitarian Universalist congregation. What is to become of our celebrated, caring community? We, like many others, have experienced deep losses the past couple of years. It has been hard, and we must grieve those losses. But we also need to recognize that we have not just survived, but are thriving, now transitioning into something new. However, we have not yet defined what our new will be. I just know it will be different than before, and I am sure it will be glorious, beautiful and loving and thoughtful and uplifting. Because that's who we are at our core. Beautiful and loving and thoughtful and uplifting. We are the congregation of open minds, caring hands, loving hearts, gutsy creativity, and feet that walk our talk. We are the Namaqua way. As president, I need to confess that I have no idea what our future will look like, nor do I intend to figure it out myself. We must all help our new course. We must all help make Namaqua's future. We must all be part of this exciting time. We know we have all the strength, ingenuity, and energy to make ourselves whatever we want to be, but we do need everyone. This will be a lot of work, but not so much if the burden is shared. The leadership will oversee and help make our plans a reality, but they will not create the plan. The plan is the responsibility of the entire congregation. I invite each of you, new as well as experienced, to join with our leaders, ministers, staff, many volunteer members, to create this next phase of our beloved community. The opportunity is today, right now, right after the service, with food, drink, and good fellowship over in Parker Hall. Stay for an hour. Contribute your thoughts, your hopes, your expectations. They do not need to be profound or fully thought out, only accepting and loving, and maybe radical and untested. So with our roots firmly planted and our hearts looking forward, I light this chalice in the spirit of our shared ministry and the bright future of Namaqua. May it be so.
Thank you, Sally. Each week, we remember that we are a promise-making, a promise-breaking, and a promise-remaking people.
We're called not to be perfect, but to be faithful to each other. Join me as we seek our covenant together as reminders of the promises we make in this gathered community. Love
Is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Today's Time for All Ages is this beautiful book called After the Fall by Dan Santana. And a lot of people know the story of Humpty Dumpty. It ends in a rather unfortunate way. Here's Humpty Dumpty up on top of the wall. Hi, my name is Humpty Dumpty. This is my favorite spot, high up on the wall. I know it's an odd place for an egg to be, but I really love being close to the birds. Then one day I fell. I'm sort of famous for that part. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. And there we see just a pair of binoculars falling. Seems like Humpty's on the other side. Fortunately, all the king's men managed to put him back together. And there we see Humpty walking out of the hospital. There were some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. Can't seem to get up on the second tier of that bunk bed anymore. After that day, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared it kept me from enjoying my favorite things. And there we see all these really sad cereals on his level named Bland and Flax. And up above we see brightly colored, very exciting cereals. I walked past the wall every day and I would think about climbing that ladder again. I really missed the birds and being high above the city, but I could never do it because I knew that accidents could happen. And there we see Humpty Dumpty walking trepidatiously down the city streets all alone. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. And then one day, an idea flew by. What's the idea? What is that up there? The paper airplane up there flying by. Making planes was harder than I thought, and there's Humpty Dumpty trying to make paper airplanes. It was easy to get cuts and scratches, but day after day I kept trying, and there he is, banging his head into the desk. Until I got it just right. It was a beautiful golden bird. My plane was perfect, and it flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up with the birds, but it was close enough. Can you give us a sound this bird might make? Unfortunately, accidents happen. And here, Humpty Dumpty looks rather worried about something. They always do, and there we see the bird flying over the wall. I almost walked away again, but then I thought about the time I spent working on my plane and all the other things I missed. I decided I was going to climb the wall. But the higher I got, the more nervous I felt. I didn't want to admit it, but I was terrified. There's Humpty Dumpty climbing up that very, very tall wall. A fragile egg in a suit. I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I just kept climbing one step at a time. With his hand reaching up the ladder even further. Until I was no longer afraid. And there's Humpty Dumpty with his hands in the air. What do you think he's saying when he's up there? Yeah, what do you think? Hooray! Can we all give a hands up hooray? Go! Hooray! There he is. Maybe you won't think of me as that egg who was famous for falling. And there we see on Humpty Dumpty's face, it says crack, crack, and we see cracks forming. Hopefully you'll remember me as the egg who got back up. And there we see Humpty Dumpty cracking open, and there's gold coming from the cracks. And we see two big golden wings bursting out of Humpty Dumpty on top of the wall. And learn to fly. And then we see the egg attached into a beautiful golden bird flying over the city. Anyone who's going to religious education with Shannon, right? I invite you to fly out of here into the back of the sanctuary with them.
Do it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Emily Dickinson says, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without words and never stops at all. This is the time in our service that we hold for joys and sorrows. And today, Dana and I would like to invite a little shift from joys and sorrows into hope. And so we'd love to invite you to come forward with a hope that you have for this congregation. And we invite you to share it by speaking into the microphone. If that doesn't feel comfortable and you would just rather light the candle, you're welcome to do that. But Dana's brought an assortment of beautiful chalices, many of which her mother actually made. And there's an invitation for you to plant your hope as a light in these chalices for us all to be warmed by, for us all to be inspired by. And so we'd love to invite folks forward to share hope that they have for the congregation.
My name's Kathy. Last week it was too tender to share, so I'm going to share it today. It's the 2nd anniversary of my beloved nephew taking his life. And my hope is that we begin to understand better the mystery of suicide, and you never have to experience it. And do remember to ask, how can I help?
Peter, could you please use the microphone? Thank you.
Back there where the pictures are, I have a couple, but that's not what I'm talking about. There's a big bunch of flowers on the wall. My wife made it. She makes lots of them. And she is willing to part with it at a fixed price. $30 if you're interested. It's all right if you're not, but just so you know. I haven't put her name. I should put her name is Gloria Edwards. And I'll hope we have a lot more. She's an amazing artist.
For the hope of more art.
My name's Andrea, and this last cold spell was a real doozy on me. I have to go out at least 4 or 5 times a day, out in 0 degrees and put on all the layers. And anyway, it was getting me down. And so I picked up my mandolin, and I decided you cannot be unhappy when you are playing the mandolin. So, or the ukulele, or whatever instrument you play or sing. And my hope is that I am so thrilled with music in our church, and I hope it just continues to get stronger and keeps moving forward. So that's my hope.
Beautiful, thank you. May it be so.
I'm new to this church, and I love all of you already. And the story that Claire read is so meaningful to me, and I am that egg, and maybe some of you have been that egg at different times. And so the thing I want to see in this church is that when you might be tired or when it's cold and you maybe don't see your mandolin, that somebody points it out to you, and that you always feel like somebody's ready if you need to rest, and that this remains full of hope that is vital and burning and strong.
Thank you.
So for continued hope that's vital and burning and strong within each of us.
Good morning, I'm Tam. My hope for this congregation is that all the way from the elders to the new folks coming in the door, that everybody feels like they're loved, they belong, and they have found their spiritual home.
So for the gift of home that's alive within each of us.
Good morning, I'm Sally again. My hope is that everybody who comes through these doors finds what you need. And you also find a way to help other people find what they need.
For the interconnected web of life.
I'm Janet, and if anybody knows me, the first thing you know about me is music. It is my life, and I love it. And when I get down, and the last about a month, I guess, especially has been really, really hard for me. And some days I really wonder, is it worth it to wake up and breathe every morning? And I found 4 new reasons to wake up and breathe every morning. Joe Coy, comedian, Ringo Starr, Barry Manilow, Gladys Knight. I'm going to see them all starting in March. 4 good reasons to wake up in the morning. And I bring that spirit of love of music here, and I am so grateful for that man right there, for bringing that to this church, and for the music that comes into this church, this voices and these instruments and this voice here is just so beautiful. And thank you. And my hope, of course, is that we keep all this and build on it, and this becomes just the most beautiful sound to be ever in Loveland, Colorado.
For the resonance of music in our hearts and the resonance of music beyond our walls.
Other hopes. This could be the whole service, frankly.
I'm Vicki, and I think probably this hope that I have is due to the fact that my husband is losing a lot of his mobility, and we may need to involve the city in this, but I hope we can arrange to find a way to have more parking spaces for people with disabilities.
Wonderful, wonderful hope. Thank you.
For doing the work of inclusion.
I'm Pat McVeigh, and I've been in this church since 2004. During the time, our church has changed a lot, so have I. And while I was very active back in the early years, I can no longer do that. And I'm wondering if there's some way for people who are going through aging to get together, because we have very special needs and problems. Some I've solved, many I've solved, most I've solved, but some are hard to solve in relationship to this church. And I thought, if we had a group that met alone where we could talk about that and work out problems and share, it might be very helpful.
Great. Thank you.
For the hope of being together, linking arms in community.
Thank you. And for our wise elders as well. Thank you. Oh.
You don't want to wait for me to step up
And
It's
you
okay.
don't want me to handle a candle. But my hope is that we have more families with young kids that come here and participate because they heighten our perception, our perspective. They make us laugh, they make us mad, but they make us do something, and we need them. So that's what I hope.
For the magic of being alive with all ages.
Amen.
Thank you, Mim.
Hi, I'm Sue. I want to carry on with what Mim said because I think it's super important. I really would love to see more families with kids come. There you are. I see you. But I think it's important to raise the children that are coming up in this kind of church home, this kind of spiritual, loving, diverse environment. So bring them in. We're going to take care of them. Nice. Thank you.
With the gift of the future in our hands today.
Well, she's the only young person here, youngest person here. And I'm sure there's a wonderful program for young people downstairs. But this little girl is my granddaughter, Avery, and she's almost going to be 9 years old. She's been raised with loving, caring, wonderful parents that had no need to bring religion or spirituality into their lives. So I moved here 6 months ago from Salt Lake City, and she's one of the main reasons. And then I walked in here, and she wanted to come with me. And I know you have classes downstairs, but she loves this so much. She sings the songs off the screens, and she wants to come every week. So my hope is that our message as adults can speak strongly like it does to young people too, if they want to participate or stay in the Avery. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. Did you want to say anything? Nope. That's all right. You don't have to. I know. We don't want to.
The effusive power of joy and the simplicity of not responding.
Thank you. And thanks to everyone for being here, no matter your age. We were all kids once. Maybe we still are. We just look like adults. I have a wish. I have a wish and a hope and a dream that we discover our wings and learn to fly. Great. Wonderful. Thank you. That's great. May it be so.
So for our wings, for justice, for the hopes that we don't yet know, for everyone in this space, for everyone we hope to walk through those doors. Nina King has this poem that I love. This is just the last section of it. It says, when hardships splatter like ebony ink across the skyline, extinguishing the hues still smoldering from the former day, pinpricks of hope remain. And in these celestial bodies we find solace, arranging the stars against the somber background into symbols and pictures of progress. And beneath them we endure in pursuit of the dawn. On the wings of this, I invite us into a space of meditation. I invite your body to be comfortable, whatever that means for you. I invite your eyes to be down or closed, whatever makes you feel safe. And when you're ready, let's take a big breath in. And let it go. Another big breath in. Let it go. One more breath in. Let it go. As you're in the space, I invite you to imagine you're sitting in the most comfortable chair, looking out at a beautiful sunrise, feeling the beams of the sun warming your skin, feeling your body relaxed, still and heavy, enduring in pursuit of the dawn. In this space of flowing, in this space of wholeness, I invite you to receive some intentions that were set yesterday by leaders in our congregation. Intentions that say who we are. I invite you to receive them in this warm, comfortable space with the sun covering you, your chair supporting you. Doug says, we are generating the trust to be real and play together. Susan says, we're vibrant and true to ourselves through our actions toward each other. Sally says, we're thoughtful and caring, but occasionally not as open as I would like to think. Norma says, we're examining how open our minds really are in this beloved community as we practice the Namaqua way. Janet says, we are risk takers. Janet says, we are all creators. Donna says, we're showing compassion to each other. Sharon says, we welcome everyone with unconditional positive regard. Kathy says, we keep our hearts open to learning how to help each other and our community. We are generous with our time and our money. Leonard says, we're willing to love and help where needed. Tom says, we are an accepting and welcoming group of people that work together to develop creative problem solutions. In holding these words, I invite you to add your own in your mind's eye. I invite you to add your own affirmation. Feeling the warm sun holding you, feeling your comfortable chair supporting you, feeling the love of this congregation around you, and the pinpricks of hope that we've cast today. Let's ground this moment with one more big breath in together. Hold on to it and let it go with a smile as we come back to this space.
beautiful. The future of this congregation is bright and beautiful. It's been a joy to be here with you and feel the love that you create and generate and ooze out all over the place every time I'm around you. Last week's service was great fun as we reviewed the history of the church, looked back over through time, how it got started, hearing great and funny stories about doing church in a box, which is not easy to do, and the challenges of buying this building and moving in, which I believe was 7 years ago. You landed here in late 2015. Dick, am I right? Does that sound right, everybody? Okay. And it was interesting to me that all of you that told stories ended by buying the building. And then you lived happily ever after, I guess. And I think in many ways you were living happily ever after until the pandemic, which has been a challenge for everyone. And yet, to get those wings, to climb that ladder, like Humpty Dumpty had the courage to finally climb that ladder, to get to the top and discover that he has his own wings, that you have your own wings, and that you're ready to fly. There's an important wound that you're still carrying, and I see it, I hear it, it comes out all the time. And it's a wound that we can't necessarily, it's a situation that we can't fix, but it's a wound within ourselves and within this congregation that we can fix and that we can heal. So today, my invitation is that we begin healing that deep wound. So I'm guessing that you've been living happily ever after until last year, when it was probably the toughest year of this congregation's life. You knew that your beloved minister, Reverend Laurel Liefert, was going to retire. People do that. You knew that. She did a beautiful job preparing you ahead of time and getting you ready. You knew it was going to be hard, but you were ready for that. It was all healthy and perfect. But the great difficulty arose when a dispute happened with your parent congregation in Fort Collins. And I have to say that that must have felt like a big betrayal. No one has said that to me, but if I'm put myself in your shoes, I would feel that way. It happened when Namaqua tried to take an action that they disagreed with, and they even tried to stop it from happening when it wasn't theirs to decide. From the stories that I've been told by Reverend Laurel, who I've spoken with at great length, and from many of you, especially the leadership of the church, this church was very careful to weigh out all sides of the situation, listening very carefully to everyone involved. You created the best possible process, and you always remembered that you were committed to living your values that included integrity, telling the truth, justice, mercy, and compassion. You were guided by your values and your principles, and you did everything you could do to work together as a congregation to solve this situation in the best way possible. But sometimes, no matter how hard you work to do the right thing, it doesn't always work out the way you think it should. So the situation escalated when the other church brought in the national organization and they decided to temporarily suspend Reverend Laurel from being a minister in good standing with the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association. Things already seemed to be blown out of proportion, but this was, I'm sure, felt like an undeserved direct attack on someone that you loved. I know I'm making you all uncomfortable right now by telling this story. And it's not that I want to make you uncomfortable, but this is a very important part of your history that does not deserve to be locked away in some closet like we're ashamed of it. There is no shame here. I hope you're hearing that. It is important to name that the chain of events caused trauma to this congregation and probably awoke trauma in many of you along the way. I know there is still great pain and hurt that is with you. And it is important that you know that I know, and I'm holding you in my heart every day for all that you've been through. And I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that you had to go through it. And I'm sorry that Laurel had to go through all of this. But I want to continue naming what you did, because you rallied against you rallied around Reverend Laurel, and you rallied around Ryan, who was also caught up in this drama. And you rallied around them, and you showed them your love, and you stood up for them with your courage and your commitment. You wrote letters on Laurel's behalf. I know it was hard and hurtful, but it was also a defining moment of this congregation where the spirit of this church rose with great power of courageous love. I'm not sure you knew you had this in you before. So I hope that you can be proud of this moment in your history, because it is a defining moment, one that you should own and claim and truly be proud of. This was the time you acted courageously on behalf of love, forgiveness, mercy, kindness, integrity, and justice. You were brilliant. You were brilliant the way you handled this. And I'll tell everybody, just so you know, I love to brag about others, so I'm going to brag about you every time I get the chance. I hope you don't mind. In case you didn't read the news or hear in last month's newsletter article, Reverend Laurel took a class that was required of her, and she was reinstated into full fellowship about 6 weeks ago or so. Yeah. Now, it doesn't erase everything, right? But it is a positive step. Now, justifiably, she didn't have to go through that process. She's retired. But she did. She did. She could have hung on to her anger and her courage, and her hurt and the pain and the bitterness. But she chose to live her values of courageous love yet again and go through the process put before her. And now I'm told that she might even start teaching the class that she just took. That's so like her, right? So, my friends, It is time to once again allow Laurel to pave the way and to shine a path forward for how we move forward as well. It's time to let whatever's going on with the other congregation, let that be theirs. Let them own it. It's not our problem, it's their problem. They get to own the issues. I'm not going to go into all the details. You don't want to hear all that. We'll be here 2 hours. We don't want to do that. Let's let them own it. And let's stop fighting the fight. It's time to release the fight. It's time to cut the ties and move forward free of all of that, rather than hanging on to the bitter anger, pain, and hurt. I know what I am saying is hard to do. I know that. And I know it will come up again and again. But every time it does, it will serve to hold us back. It will serve to pull us down. Do you really want to give anybody else that kind of power over you? That's what it's doing. And I hope the answer is no. It is time to move into a beautiful and hopeful future where you claim and own the best part of this story. And that is the time that you courageously stood up for love, forgiveness, mercy, integrity, all the values that we claim every Sunday, every day. You lived them fully, with heart and with passion. That, my friends, is who you are. Are you not proud of that? I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, I sure as hell hope so. So let the memory of living these values in the world in such a powerful way shine a light on your path towards the healing that I am here to accompany you through. Earlier, I ask you, who are you, Namaqua Unitarian Universalist congregation? Who are you? And now you remember, don't you? You found out who you are and what you are made of. And in the end, we are the church of the open mind. All right, help me out now. Open minds, helping hands, loving hearts, gutsy creativity, and feet that walk our talk. Beautiful. This, my friends, is your essence, and this is something worthy of building your future. May it be so. Amen. Thank you. So I want to invite you into a brief ritual to just rinse away all that old stuff that we're done with. The negativity, the hurt, the pain, all of that. Are you ready? Okay, so I invite you to close your mind. Close your mind. I tell you. No, open mind, Dana. It's open mind. I'm sure glad you guys can laugh with me. Well, that does bring up something else. It's not in my script. That's one of my favorite songs. It goes like this. Blessed are those who can laugh at themselves, for they shall never cease to be amused. And that's part of it too. Do you feel how healing that laughter is? So healing, such what we need. You are a church of laughter, of joy. Let's settle into that in full wholeheartedness. So I invite you to settle in, maybe close your eyes, and imagine a favorite body of water, maybe the ocean, favorite body of water. And water is life. Water is cleansing. Water is healing. And very gently and with kindness, also tune into the anger, the feelings of hurt that you have experienced from this issue over the past year and beyond. And as you slowly breathe in, invite those healing waters to rise within your being, infusing every cell. And as you exhale, imagine those waters rushing out of the top of your head, rinsing out of every pore away the bonds of anger and hurt, releasing and rinsing away those bonds of anger and hurt. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, the waters rise. Breathing out, release. One more time. Breathing in, the waters rise. Breathing out, release the anger and hurt. And feel the water healing your wounds as it dissipates. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding us. I rest in this love. May it be so. Amen.
Let's take a moment just to honor Dana reflecting that back to us. I'm going to ask that today we do the offering on the way out because we're running a little long. So I invite you to still be generous. Half of our plate goes to support Homeward Alliance, which supports folks who are unhoused at this time. Please give generously on the way out of church today. When I was young and the future was clear, and I don't mean my life's journey, but the future of my soul, the inexplicable essence of my being, which was both entirely me and not me at all. The only choice in its path was up or down, north or south, heaven or hell. Now, when I look back on that future, and I can see it wasn't much of a choice at all. Its simplicity masked the complexity of life, of love. Its simplicity eliminated vulnerability. The biggest thing I learned about the future since I left behind the impossible choice between landing up or down is that nothing is fixed. Stasis is a way of living, dying, sitting still and hoping others, and the universe will do the same, is a tombstone. It's a marker of death, which itself slowly decays. In the place of knowing the future of my soul, I placed intentions and hopes and dreams, ephemeral longings that guide my way, giving me a foundation of purpose. Whether I created my soul or my soul created me, my heart rests easier at night when I look back on my day and into my future, knowing that hope will embrace me, no matter where the eventual ends up. This community has moved from being young toward being seasoned. Its soil rich with stories and with action. Today I invite you into the blessings of hope, into a future full of motion upon the dreams of our friends and neighbors, this community's ancestors. Today I invite you to look within the work of care around the circles of life. Look to see and make real these blessings. Blessings upon your fiery commitment to stand for justice and mercy alone and together with those who hunger and thirst. Blessings upon the past composted to create a new with wonder and imagination. Blessings upon these people, both entirely you and not you at all, for the soul of this community comes as close to a soul as I can imagine. Blessings upon your future, driven by hope, hurtling into the world, holy and whole beyond heaven and hell and into right now. Ready for your intentions, ready for your dreams, ready for your tomorrows. May the lights of your hope and the warmth of this community be a blessing to you, to this congregation, and especially to those we've not yet met. For the work of hope is the practice of vulnerability, in longing but not knowing, in looking beyond the cracks to see our golden feathers underneath. May we always turn toward hope together. May it be so. James Baldwin writes, "For nothing is fixed forever and forever and forever." It's not fixed. The earth is always shifting. The light is always changing. The sea does not cease to grind down rock.
Generations do not cease to be born, And we are responsible to them because we are the only witnesses they have.
The sea rises, the light fails, lovers cling to each other, and children cling to us.
The moment we cease to hold each other, the moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us and the light goes out. So my friends, keep holding on to each other so our light continues to burn brightly for each other and for this world. May it be so. Amen. Go in peace and in love.